Great Demon King, Chapter 52. Wolf Riders Invade. Han Shuo had been engaged in a quiet conversation with Fanny when the urgent voices outside shattered the calm atmosphere of the hotel room. Without hesitation, he immediately yelled, "Master Fanny, let's hurry and meet up with them." Fanny didn't mince words and sprang toward the door of Han Shuo's room as soon as his voice echoed through the halls. Her movements were swift and purposeful, a stark contrast to her usual composed demeanor. Once Fanny had left, Han Shuo quickly flung off the bathrobe that had been wrapped around his body and hurriedly donned his clothes. He meticulously tucked away the iron needles, dagger, crossbow, and bottles of medicine he'd acquired over the past few days, ensuring nothing was left out of place. With everything in order, he finally left the room, his footsteps echoing softly in the quiet corridor. As he stepped outside, the main street of Droll was abuzz with activity. The adventurers' darting bodies and merchants' loud calls filled the air, creating a cacophony of sounds that underscored the town's vibrant energy. These individuals had been indulging in their own pursuits. Some were drinking in their hotel rooms, while others enjoyed themselves in establishments of temptation. However, the news of the Wolf Riders' invasion had prompted an immediate and coordinated response. Instantly, everyone abandoned their leisurely activities and surged onto the main street, a testament to the town's resilience and preparedness for danger. Adventurers and mercenaries, accustomed to living life on the edge, were long used to such dangers. Their lives hinged on the fine line between survival and demise, and as a result, they had honed their reflexes and readiness. When they left their rooms, they methodically organized their weapons and armor, congregating onto South Street according to the origin of the alarm. The disciplined chaos was a well-oiled response, each individual knowing their role in the impending confrontation. Han Shuo walked out from his room, noting that even the hotel owner had grabbed a longsword upon his return to the front desk. The owner stood in front of the door with a fierce expression, his stance unwavering, a clear indication that the citizens of Droll were indeed fierce and valorous. Their commitment to defending their town was palpable, their readiness a reflection of the many battles they had endured. Fanny and the others were all standing in front of the door, their faces set with determination. The students hastily put their belongings down in their rooms and hurriedly rushed out again. After their arduous adventure in the dark forest, these young sapling mages had learned to remain composed and self-possessed, no longer succumbing to panic in the face of danger. Their growth was evident in their steady movements and focused expressions. "Ryan, hurry and come over here. We must set out for South Street immediately. Since Orc Wolf Riders dare to invade the Empire's town of Droll, we mustn't let them succeed." Lisa immediately raised her hand high and called out as soon as she saw Han Shuo appear, her voice tinged with urgency, as if fearing that Han Shuo wouldn't be able to perceive her otherwise. Apart from Fanny and the others in front of the hotel doors, a couple of other adventurers and mercenaries had also formed into groups of 3 to 5 people. The necromancy students continued to walk out of their rooms, each one armed to the teeth and bristling with weaponry. Fanny counted heads shortly after Han Shuo had made his way toward Lisa's side. When she discovered that they were all accounted for, she immediately shouted, "Follow me to South Street and don't get separated." Han Shuo followed behind Fanny on the main street, crowded with figures, arriving at South Street shortly thereafter. Upon arrival, he saw that almost 100 adventurers and mercenaries were already gathered nearby. The old mage, Felix, and the female elf, Blanche, whom Han Shuo had seen last time, were also present. Judging from their authoritative demeanor and strategic positioning, they were clearly acting as leaders. Felix hovered in the air, his presence commanding, and was loudly shouting something to rally the troops. This old mage can hover in midair using levitation magic. It looks like he must be at least of the archmage level," Jean exclaimed in shock after they'd arrived and started explaining to the students. "When a mage trains to a certain realm, she will be able to use levitation magic to fly. However, only mages who have reached the archmage level can cast levitation magic. Therefore, mages who can fly are all without a doubt noble and exceedingly powerful characters. Brave warriors of the Empire, the Orc's Wolf Riders are moving towards the town of Droll. According to my observations, the Wolf Riders are moving in a formation of 500. As an encampment of the Empire, our town of Droll has zero tolerance for being trampled on by these savages. Warriors, raise your weapons and give them a taste of the fury of the Empire's warriors." Felix hovered in midair and clutched an exquisite magic staff embedded with sapphires in his right hand, speaking loudly to raise morale. His voice carried the weight of command, inspiring the gathered defenders to prepare for the onslaught. "Hey, aren't these the people from the necromancy major? Fancy meeting you here. Beecher's voice suddenly sounded from the side at this moment. Han Shuo twisted his head to see that the light major students had all cast their eyes this way, their expressions a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Hello, Master Beecher. To think we would run into you here. I trust that you have gained rich rewards from this time's outing. Jean nodded and smiled in greeting, asking his questions afterward. His tone was friendly, but there was an undercurrent of tension as he observed Beecher's reaction. Nothing much. No big rewards. Just that the students have truly improved. Beecher responded faintly with a smile, though his eyes remained watchful. The lack of significant gains hinted at the challenges they had faced during their expedition. Dull, thudding sounds originating from the south resonated in the distance. Under the instructions of Felix and Blanche, the warriors had long since armed themselves and bristled with weaponry as they stood in the front. Mages, archers, and priests stood in the back, separated from the warriors by a distance of 5 to 6 meters. They had taken out their magic staffs and gazed intently towards the south with grave expressions, their focus unwavering as they prepared for the impending clash. Seeing that everyone had assumed their positions, Beecher and Jean didn't waste time in furthering their idle chit-chat. Instead, they moved to stand with the mages, their postures stiffening with resolve. Although Han Shuo's body had greatly improved, he wasn't so dumb as to stand in the front and draw attention to himself. He too followed Fanny and stood with the mages, his presence subtle yet commanding. Just as everyone had taken up their respective positions according to their professions, dull, clopping sounds echoed like dull drums in the hearts of the assembled people. A concentrated, heavy sense of strong aura slowly found its way into everyone's hearts. The wolf-riding orc wolf riders slowly materialized out of the flying dust cloud, and into everyone's vision, their numbers formidable and their intentions clear. A grave, killing aura immediately enveloped the entire town of Droll. The wolf riders immediately started charging forward as soon as they'd appeared, accompanied by sharp howls and screams. The long swords in their hands flashed with cold light, and the strong flare of aura from 500 wolf riders charging in unison immediately gave others a strong sense of oppression. The sheer number and coordinated aggression of the riders were overwhelming, a force to be reckoned with. Mages ready. Release your magic on my mark. Felix was relatively calm as he hovered in the air, gazing down on the wolf riders. He spoke calmly, only when the wolf riders had truly started charging, his voice a steady anchor amidst the chaos. Everyone be careful. Don't let anything happen to you. Fanny was also a bit nervous at this moment, and she turned to give a few reminders to the students standing next to her. Just as Fanny was about to remind Han Shuo, she suddenly discovered that there was a type of numbing cold severity in his eyes that were set in a face of calm. There was no panic at all. He gripped a sharp dagger in his hand, and a frigid aura slowly started emanating from the dagger. Noticing Fanny's gaze, Han Shuo's concentration lapsed, and the bone-piercing, frigidly cold aura that he had infused the dagger with, as a result of guiding the magical yuan in his left hand into the dagger after activating the mystical glacial spellfire, suddenly faded away, without a trace of spray. Is something the matter, Master Fanny? Han Shuo looked at Fanny and asked with an honest smile hanging on his face once again. No, nothing. You be careful. Fanny looked at Han Shuo and responded in a bit of a weird tone. Her eyes darted around, sensing something amiss beneath his calm facade. At this moment, Fanny had finally realized that the honest, dumb smile that Han Shuo had worn on his face was merely his disguise. The calmness and composure that he had while facing danger was most likely Han Shuo's true state. The realization sent a chill down her spine, her instincts screaming that Han Shuo was hiding something far more sinister beneath his exterior. Damn it, you lied to everyone. I'll make you pay for that sooner or later, Fanny thought fiercely in her heart on one hand, and on the other surreptitiously appraised Han Shuo, suddenly feeling that a calmly serious Han Shuo had a very different quality to him. The protective instincts kicked in, readying her for the battle that was about to unfold.